Fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Another good week of football in the book, at least in the Campbell County High School front.
Yeah, that's a rough week for the Vols after a debacle. It's about the only way you can describe it. Blow your 20-game home opening winning streak. Blow your largest lead ever in Neyland Stadium. It's just a bad way to start the home season. Had a packed house, set record levels for noise in Neyland. Had everything going your way. Got ultra conservative with it. Tried to run the clock out, tried to play defense. Classic Philip Fulmer football.
Too much conservatism in the football.
Had the ball on fourth down. You need 6 inches to score a touchdown. You kick a field goal, which is a dicey proposition with Aaron Medley. Aaron Medley's atrocious. He may get better or something. He's awful right now.
There has to be somebody on that campus that can kick better than
There's
him.
got to be somebody on the guy. You can't depend on the guy for anything beyond 40 yards, and that's ridiculous out of a kicker. And that puts up in doubt, inside of 40. He's really bad. He was supposed to be the best kicker in the country. I don't know what's happened to him. Couldn't make field goals last year. Can't make them. He's great at kickoffs. He can boom them through the back of the end zone, but he cannot kick a ball, straight. He can't kick. He can't get it done at the field goal kicking. So that's something they're going to have to examine. But they should have went for that fourth down. His missed field goal is 20-3. Makes a big difference in the game than being 17-3. Probably doesn't go to overtime at that point. But it's mostly on Bush Jones. You got to get a play call better than that. You got to scheme better than that. You can't be that conservative all the time. You can't try to sit on leads against good teams. Like I said, we saw it for years with Philip Fulmer and Johnny Majors. Watched Johnny Majors sit on a lead against Colorado. Colorado come back and tied it. Watched Johnny Majors sit on a lead against Auburn. Auburn came back and tied it. You've watched Philip Fulmer do it countless times and seen other teams come back and actually win the game. And that's not what you want out of your coach. You want coaches that are aggressive. You want a coach that's, if you lose a game, you want it to be because you were playing as hard as you could.
And poor Kurt Majette. He's got the worst injury luck of probably anybody I've ever known, except for maybe Chris Burton.
Kurt, nothing. You have to be looking. You're going to get 5-6 games out of him and hope he doesn't. Hope for that. That's about the way it has been for his entire career. You just have to move on. Some other players are going to have to step up and fill that role. The main thing, though, you've got to get your offense better. You've got to get your offense more consistent. You can't have a bag like Alvin Kamara and give him 5 or 6 carries. It's just overall. Tennessee had the ball on Oklahoma's side of the field. They should have scored 31 points in that game in regulation instead of 17. And it was just ultra-conservative play calling. We're going to, try the loft tackle this, whatever. We got a lead. They can't score. We're doing great. And it just bits you. It always comes back and bites you. It's disgusting to me. It's not a surprising loss to me. Oklahoma is a good team. I feel like next year's the year that Tennessee should be fully back. But the way it happened is just gut-wrenching.
Oh, yeah. If you got Jalen Hurd and you're at 4th and 1, why would you not let Jalen Hurd have a shot at it?
Butch said the analytics show that you should kick a field goal there. Honestly, analytics show you get 80% of fourth downs, you go for it, especially 4th and less than 1. At worst, you have Oklahoma having to go 99 2/3 yards. At best, you have a touchdown instead of a field goal. And there's some teams, and we saw it through the 90s with Florida. Philip Fulmer would kick a field goal, Florida would score a touchdown, even if they had to go for it on 4th down. And that's the difference in coaches. And I don't know about Wes Jones the coach yet. Nobody does. He's not proven that he can coach anywhere yet. He's shown that he can take teams that were well built. I say he followed up Notre Dame's coach at a couple of stops. His name currently escapes me, but I would know it any other time. But he followed that guy up at a couple of stops and won games with the team that fellow had built. Did it twice. He did it at Central Michigan after the guy left, and the guy went to Cincinnati. They won there, and they hired Butch at Cincinnati. Butch won there. But Butch also, he's 1-17 against top 25 teams now. Got to change that. This fan base can turn in a hurry. I mean, I'm not
it's
suggesting
turning
in
right
any
now.
way that it's not time to give up on Bush Jones or anything like that.
I'm not saying it is either, but the fan base is already turning. If you've listened to any sports
fan base
talk,
is upset. But the sports talk callers are the ones that are always.
they're the loony fringe.
But you've got to start winning games like that. That's the bottom line. No more excuses. No more. We're young. We're this or that. You are young. Everybody's young. Oklahoma started freshmen all over the field too. You got to win games. You got to start beating ranked teams. This year, like I say, 8-4 will get it done probably. Next year, 11-12 wins. But this year, Butch is going to show that he can coach. If Butch can't get it done with these next two teams, he'll never get it done here.
On the upside, Campbell County beat Grace Christian in what was also a very tense potential go to overtime game.
A very thrilling game. I mean, my goodness. Campbell County pretty much dominated most of the night. Had some issues tackling the ball, tackling the quarterback especially. And the coaches will tell you this, that they've got to teach their kids a better way to do this. And the quarterback he was good, but no quarterback's that escapable.
No.
I mean, there were times he was, shrugging off 3 and 4 guys on a play. I mean, plays that would have been 5-yard losses were 20-yard gains.
Right. And
if not for that, Campbell County probably wins that game by 3 touchdowns or 4. But that quarterback put out is a big time effort for Grace. He was Central's quarterback last year and had a pretty big game against Campbell County. But he was just very elusive, very hard to tackle. Defense would make a few stops, then he breaks out a 3rd down and 8, and he runs for 20 yards after getting hit 3 times in the backfield. And it just back and forth. Campbell County would be ahead by a touchdown. They would get it 1. Campbell County would be ahead by 2 touchdowns. Came down. If you watched it, if you didn't watch it, you'd see that pretty big play. What I thought was a clear interception. I've not seen the replay yet. I've not got to see. I meant to watch it online on WVLT. I think they have it stored online usually.
yeah, it should be on WVLT.
Or what their replay showed. It was right in front of us, or right in front of me. I guess you were on the sideline pretty close.
Yeah, it was in front of you. It was actually tough to see from mine.
And the ball looked to me like it hit the player on the thigh, basically. It made a loud thump, just thump. You could clearly hear the ball doesn't make that sound when it hits the ground. It made a loud thump, bounced up in the air, and a Campbell County player perfectly cradled it. And Campbell County had 27-14, I believe, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
They would have had the ball. They had 27-14 near midfield, midway through the 3rd quarter. Instead, the referees rule it down. I don't know how, because I never saw the ball even come close to hitting the ground. I said maybe replay shows that it did. I don't know. I didn't see it though myself. It didn't look. The Campbell County fan base, of course, was upset. It looked like an interception. It looked like a great, spectacular play for the kid.
I mean, Grace has very small sidelines, so I was kind of in a corner, but you could feel the reaction from the crowd, which is one of the things about having a small sideline. That crowd smelled interception there.
It was an interception in my opinion. But instead of giving Campbell County that interception, which they probably should have, and you never hear me complain about the refs in the Campbell County game. I never have. It's the first time I ever have. Because it took away just a spectacular play. But they gave the ball back to Grace. Their quarterback breaks a 50-yard run on the next play. And suddenly, instead of Campbell County's ball at midfield, they had 27-14. It's 1st and goal Grace on the 3-yard line. Well, they punch in the scores 27-21 at that point, and the game is on. And it comes down. They battle back and forth for a few minutes. Josh Lay, one gets away from him. Grace runs it in for a touchdown.
I'll say this too. For the first time ever at a Campbell County game, I understood what you felt standing by Justin Price when it started raining.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, Campbell County gets down. It's 28-27. Because Campbell County missed a rare extra point. Gustavo had an extra point blocked. And you're thinking, my God, I saw this before, because it seems like what happens to Tennessee against Florida.
Yeah.
In the 90s. As soon as Tennessee gets the ball back, as soon as Campbell County gets the ball back, they're suddenly trailing after being up by 2 touchdowns, literally 5 minutes beforehand, and what should have been all the momentum on their side. And suddenly they're down a point, and it's the 4th quarter, and there's 6 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. No, there were 9 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, I think, at this time. something along those. Anyway, Campbell County gets the ball back, and you think, they got to make this drive. They got 6-7 minutes or whatever to do it. The sky's opened up.
Oh yeah, yeah, and of course the rain was forecast, but it was so nice when we got there. I left my rain gear for my camera in the car.
That was nice throughout the game. I mean, it had cleared off and was sunny by the time the kickoff started. But that particular shower was just a tiny shower that parked right over Grace. And Campbell County had the ball for about the next 7 minutes and made just an impressive, in a driving rainstorm. I mean, Josh Lay got out, threw a perfect strike down the sideline. Campbell County got a big gainer out of that. Josh would not be denied. I mean, I believe every play the rest of the series was Josh running the ball.
I'll say this about it. I mean, and Josh really, he came in his own, obviously, in the Lenore City game. He got 2 different Player of the Week awards through that. Man, Josh Lee took over that game. He showed signs of, I will not be denied. I will be that quarterback in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. They were not going to stop him scoring that touchdown. Takes it down. It's like just through a driving rain, pouring down this whole time. Finishes off the drive. The extra, you got to go for 2 right there to put yourself ahead by, a complete touchdown because you're ahead by 5. You got to go for 2 to get settled. Campbell County goes for 2. It failed, unfortunately, but came down to the defense with about a minute and a half to go. Could the defense finally tackle this quarterback that they had? They were tackle all night long.
They stepped up.
Got it down. Got a sack. Got a couple of incomplete passes. Came 4th down. Hats off to every level of the defense. That secondary. I mean, the guy ran around back there for 30 seconds. And he's a pretty elusive quarterback. That secondary completely shut down, clamped down all of Grace's receiving threats. I mean, nothing. The guy had nowhere to throw it. He scrambled over here. He scrambled over here. He just nowhere to throw it. And finally, the Cougars closed in on him. They only had 4 linemen rushing. Closed in on him, and actually, first guy that got to him, grabbed him. He didn't shrug it off. Couldn't break it. Tackled him. Game. Just a couple of knees, and the game was over at that point.
One of those knees was real tense.
One of them was tense. They did fumble the snap at one point.
And listen, you think obviously Justin was already on or at least out of the press box at that point. Poor Cindy Price, I thought she was going to jump out of her skin on that.
It was a high tension game. I mean, you just felt the tension in the air through the game. Exciting atmosphere. Campbell County's entire section of fans, I believe, outnumbered Grace's probably.
Oh, we had more fans than Grace.
Wasn't a lot of people there for Grace. I don't know why. I'm not sure if maybe that's all the fans they ever get at Grace because it is a small school.
Well, there's that and the fact that unlike most Knox County schools, Grace actually has a really good middle school program. And there was middle school athletics going on at the same time because they were announcing scores as the game went on. So I talked to Holly Williams Martinez, Cougar alum. She's like, we had practice for one of my children's teams. We had to stay home and watch it on TV.
I believe the scores they were announcing for the game the night before. We were announcing the middle school scores for the night before.
It was Thursday.
Well, that's right. It was a Thursday night game, so I guess there was a game that night. Grace, poor scheduling on your part then, Grace, to have a middle school and high school event on the same day. But regardless, I mean, you would thought there would have been a few more maybe there, but we saw it before with Campbell County going on the road and giving themselves that home team environment because it was a loud and rowdy crowd.
Now this week is the brother-in-law bowl. We go to Clinton. Clinton's homecoming. It's Tyler Thackerson's senior year. There's been that intense, though friendly rivalry between Campbell County and Clinton, and I know for a fact that they're looking at this as being their year.
They look at it like this. I believe now that this is the 4th year of the 5th year, pardon me, of the Justin Price era. Justin and Matt. I think Campbell County is 3-1 against Clinton. Mm-hmm. Clinton wants to get that win.
Badly.
And it finally appears that Clinton probably should be the favorite, especially at home this year. And this is Clinton's year. I think they took a pretty good beating by Ray County last week.
They did.
Not sure how good Ray County is. But there's so much familiarity, and we saw it the last few years. I mean, Campbell County won 2 in a row against Clinton, but man, they've been tough, shootouts. That Clinton offense has been nearly impossible to stop. And due in large part, or no small part, pardon me, I would say, to Rodney Ellison, who's now gone. He's at Pell now. And Rodney's offenses are notoriously hard to stop. And it's one thing they can still be running the same offense. When you don't have that same guy calling the plays, that's a big difference.
Now, Rodney's a difference maker on a team. I mean, look what he did for Wartburg.
Well, yeah, I mean, everywhere he's been, the offense has greatly improved.
And you're next year, Powell may wind up being, with the exception of Fulton, the highest scoring output team in Knoxville.
That wouldn't surprise me. But you got to look at it. There's so much familiarity between the two. The Cougars will be a little different in their scheme this year because of the amount of running that Josh Lay does. It won't be it won't be as typical. They'll still run out of the same sets a lot. Everything comes out of the same set. So maybe this Cougar team will be a little different. Clinton's not been able to stop Campbell County, but I think Campbell County had powerful offensive weapons. A lot of them the last couple of years. This year, they're relying more on Josh Lay. A couple other guys are stepping up a little bit. Landon Reese had a few good receptions.
Max Ferris finally got his groove as a receiver.
Ferris is he still needs to improve his catching consistency. And hear Justin yelling that out a lot. Otherwise, you got like Sean Markham. He's who's really stepped up the most. I mean,
Markham is the go-to guy.
Markham has really improved his game, and he's helping out Josh Lay. And Josh is running throughout. That's something you did not have out of Jeffers that Clinton's going to have to scheme for. On the other side, Campbell County's pass defense appears to be its weakest point. And they're pretty good at stuffing the run. You've got to tackle Thackerson if they can get him in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
You can't let him escape like the Grace quarterback did.
He's up for Defensive Player of the Week this week, but Big Mike Rhodes needs to become really, really close with Tyler Thackerson this week.
I mean, so it wasn't a matter of getting to the quarterback last week. It was a matter of tackling the quarterback last week when they got to him. That's what they have to do. You let Thackerson scramble around back there, he's going to beat you. He's going to put points up. Campbell County's going to have to be prepared to score. They can't afford to waste possessions inside the 20. Ball security. You can't have bad interceptions. You can't have fumbles. It's going to take a lot to beat Clinton. Clinton, I think, is right there in the top 2 or 3 teams in the district this year.
And I got to get on a personal note, just a little soapbox of my own. Of course, in the era of social media, this has become really easy to do as far as coach bashing goes. But Campbell County's volleyball coach, and I know no bones about it, she's a longtime friend of mine, taking a lot of heat from a grandparent because doesn't like the rotation, doesn't like the way things are being played. She took that job when literally nobody else wanted it. This woman on her social media post claimed that other people were turned down for the job. She took the job because no one else applied for it. And she's done a lot with that team that's not been done before.
I didn't know about this, but coach is coach. Parents need to sit in the stands and probably shut up or take your kid off the team.
All this started handing out participation trophies.
I mean, it's just as simple as that. Coach is coach. Parents shut up.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Shut up or get out.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it should be.
I had to get that off my chest because it really bothered me. Fans, we're done for the week. We will see you next week on Sports Chat.